Good morning, beloveds. I'm having technical difficulties. When I put the phone in the stand, it turned my volume all the way down. And since I don't know if you can hear me, if my volume's all the way down, I had to figure out how to turn it back up. And it wasn't cooperating. All right. New phone. All right. It is March 2nd. Our title is I Am Guided by the Wisdom of God. The quote is from Jeremiah. It is 9:23-24. Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise person glory in their wisdom, but let them that glorieth glory in this, that they understandeth and knoweth me. Some universal and infinite intelligence governs everything, holds everything in place, and directs the course of everything. The intelligence that governs the planets in their course is the same wisdom that is in the anthill or the beehive. This same wisdom is in the bird that flies north in the summer and south in the winter, and knows where to find its food. But that which is blind or instinctive knowing in the animal should become conscious knowing and will in the human. In the animal kingdom, it works as a blind force. In the human kingdom, it works through blind force only in the automatic reactions of nature, such as the involuntary functions of the body. But the more personal use of it, whether or not we shall call upon the one mind and spirit to direct and govern our affairs, this depends on our personal choice. This is what freedom and individuality mean. Today, I am guided by the wisdom of God in everything I do, say, or think. Since there is nothing large or small in the infinite and divine mind, I know that the same wisdom that governs everything in the universe is brought to bear upon the little things in my personal life. I permit this wisdom to direct me. I affirm the presence of this wisdom and acknowledge its action in everything in my life. Therefore, I know what to do under every circumstance. I know how to plan my life and direct my path because I recognize the infinite wisdom is doing this for me by doing it through me. There is no uncertainty nor confusion in my life. The divine spirit always knows what to do. Therefore, I am never without guidance. There is one wisdom, one intelligence, one mind. I live and move and have my being in this one. My every act, thought, and purpose is guided by this wisdom. Okay. I mean, it was kind of self-explanatory. What I will say is I'm going to go back to the point that I think I made yesterday. It's why not use the wisdom for everything? Not just the big things. Don't just go to God or go to spirit or whatever word you want to use, the one mind, for, the big things, the traumatic things, the major things in your life. Why not get in the habit of using that mind for everything, the little things? And I mean, it sounds kind of silly to use the one mind to decide what to have for dinner, but why not? Why not be guided by the wisdom of spirit into what you might consider having for a meal? Because you might make better choices. One of the and I specifically mentioned that one simply because this is a conversation that my husband and I have. I mean, most couples have on a regular basis. Well, what do you want to eat? Um, and it's because my husband's job schedule may change a little bit. It's going to impact the way we eat when we eat dinner. And what we have discovered is I'm terribly bad at feeding myself. When it comes to feeding myself, there has to be planning it. So why not use that one mind and plan it? Or, because I might make better choices if I use the one mind. If I think, okay, all right, spirit, And then I'm in the habit of using it when I use it for every little thing. When I use it for every little thing, I'm already in the habit of using it. Then when a big thing comes out of nowhere and I got to make a decision, I'm already in the habit of using the one mind. So you practice on the little things. When you first come into science of mind, it sounds silly, but we talk about manifesting parking spaces. It's the same thing. It's like, let me show you that one, this works. And two, if you can do it for that, then you can do it for anything. So it's the same thing here. It's like, I use the wisdom of God. We'll use it for everything. You have access to it all the time, not just in your prayer work, although in your when you do meditation, that is when you are actively listening. So, why not use the wisdom of God for all the little things? Because when you create that habit, when you create that groove, then when things happen kind of weird, you got a place to go, and it's an automatic response, as he says in here. It will become almost an instinctive response that you go to the wisdom of God or the wisdom of spirit, no matter what's going on. All right. Okay. So I am guided by the wisdom of God. And then I'm just going to retranslate Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah is one of the small books. I could be wrong. Ezekiel, Isaiah, Jeremiah might be one of those. It's always interesting to go and read the prophets, especially the small ones. They have definite ideas. So Jeremiah 9:23 and 24. Thus said the Lord, let not the wise person glory in their wisdom, but let them that glory in this, that they understand and know me. So, all right. So, some universal and infinite intelligence governs everything, holding everything in place, and directs the course of everything. I mean, look around the natural world. Things happen when they should. Trees drop their leaves in the fall. They put new leaves out in the spring. Animals mate in the early spring so that they can have their babies in late spring, so that they can raise them through the summer, so that they can get big and strong and healthy to survive the winter. Things happen the way they should. That is the patterning intelligence. The intelligence that governs the planets in their course is the same wisdom that is in an anthill or a beehive. That would be, and it's interesting when you think how they communicate and act as one. Ants and bees are a whole lot better at acting as one than people are. We could learn something from them. This same wisdom is in the bird that flies north in the winter and south in the north in the summer and south in the winter, and knows where to find its food. But that which is blind or instinctive in the knowing, instinctive knowing in the animal, should become conscious knowing and will in the human being. We have a lot of automatic things. There is a whole part of our brain that is dedicated to running this body that we don't have to think about. In fact, if you start thinking about your breath, it gets weird. Okay? If you start thinking about your heartbeat, it gets weird. These are things we don't have to think about. They're automatic. But there's a whole nother part of our brain that is dedicated to consciousness, to memories, to tasks, to functioning in this world. And so, it's like, we got bigger brains, we should use them. All right. In the animal kingdom, it works as a blind force. In the human kingdom, it works through blind force only in the automatic reactions to nature, such as the involuntary functions of the body, like the heart, like the breathing. You don't have to tell your liver what to do. You don't have to tell your kidneys what to do, thank God. Now, the interesting thing is, though, if your liver or your kidneys are not functioning the way that they could, you can tell them what to do. You can have that conversation with your livers, and you can have that conversation with your kidneys, and you do it from a place of, hey, you should be doing this, not this. Let's work on that. All right. Because we're conscious. So we can even affect the involuntary. You can control your breathing. But most of the time we don't have to. All right. But the more personal use of it, whether or not we shall call upon the one mind and spirit to direct and govern our affairs. All right. This depends on our personal choice. These are choices that we can make. This is what freedom and individuality mean. We can choose when and how we call on God. We can choose how we, how we interact with the world around us. Sometimes it would be nice if I had this instinctive thing in my brain that says, hey, go eat this. Go find it here. Instead, I rely on maps in the refrigerator, and mostly my husband. He's much better at feeding me than I am at feeding myself. But he relies on that wisdom. This is freedom and individuality. All right, so today I am guided by the wisdom of God in everything I do, say, or think. There is nothing too big for God. There is nothing too small for God. The functioning of your kidneys is not too small for God. It's not. So you can take anything and everything to the one mind. And I'm going to keep saying it, every time, because we reserve God for the big things. And we don't have to. Because we are not, when we talk about our kidney function with God, we are not taking time away from somebody else. And that may be part of it. Part of it may be that we're sitting here thinking, well, this is such a trivial little thing. I don't need to bother God with it. God has all these other things to do. Well, you know what? God is infinite. There's nothing too small. I mean, if he can count the hairs on your head, be aware of the lilies in the field, and know when every sparrow falls, your kidney function is, it's a big thing to you, but it's not taking time away from anybody else. So you can take absolutely anything to God. You are literally not bothering God. How many of us were brought up not to bother the authority? All right. Well, the good news is God is not the authority, and we are not bothering God because God is infinite. God exists in the fullness of being right where you are, right where I am, right where everyone is at all time. So there is nothing too small. Nothing too small. Since there is nothing large or small in the infinite and divine mind, I know that the same wisdom that governs everything in the universe is brought to bear upon the little things in my personal life. I permit this wisdom to direct me. I affirm the presence of this wisdom and acknowledge its action in everything in my life. Therefore, I know what to do under every circumstances. And that's what the point of practice is. Practice doesn't necessarily, it makes perfect, but that's not the point of practice. The practice is to make permanent. It is to create that groove so no matter what happens, you got somewhere to go. And you know how to do it. And you know how to do it so well that it's almost automatic. It is almost instinctual. But you get to make the choice every time. I know how to plan my life and direct my path because I recognize the infinite wisdom is doing this for me by doing it through me. God can only do for you what God can do through you. Now, God has all these other amazing beings that can do good for you as well. But you gotta be willing to accept, you gotta be willing to ask. And that's why I think, yes, God knows what you need, but the asking is creating the willingness to accept. All right? That's why we have to ask. It has nothing to do with God. It has everything to do with our willingness to ask or willingness to accept. They're both A words. There is no uncertainty, no confusion in my life. The divine spirit always knows what to do. Therefore, I am never without guidance. And that is one of the values of the 3 deep breaths. One of the values of 3 deep breaths is absolutely that. I don't know what to do. Let me take 3 deep breaths, and that can be that trigger into that divine wisdom. And then I will absolutely know what to do. There is one wisdom, one intelligence, one mind. And how many times have we heard Reverend Jesse say this? I live and move and have my being in this one. We are made of God's stuff. We are surrounded by God's stuff. We are surrounded by godlings. When we recognize that, things just work better. My every act, thought, and purpose is guided by this wisdom. All right, beloveds. The mission today, should we choose to accept it? Oof. I keep coming back to this line, so I'm going to use this one. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to recognize the infinite wisdom through us, as us, in us. All right? So to recognize the infinite wisdom that we have access to all the time. All right? Because it's in us, as us, through us. Sometimes it is helpful to remember that we are divine channels. We are one of the multitude of ways that the unseen becomes seen. We are the way that God moves in this world. If that is helpful to you, please think about that. All right, beloveds, I'm going to move into the process of my day, which means I'm going to encourage you in the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself every day. I would love every act that you do all day for yourself to be loving, kind, and compassionate. And one of the ways we get there is by consciously doing one every day. Every day. Because you deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. Absolutely. It is a spiritual practice, and it is about creating that habit, about creating that default setting, about creating that groove. And that's one of the reasons why I talk about that 3 deep breaths. We want to practice knowing that that infinite wisdom is always available to us. We want to practice knowing that that infinite love is always available to us. And it comes from this multitude of directions, but one of the best places to make sure that it is coming from is from within out. From within out. All right, beloveds. So whatever that practice is, 3 deep breaths, go for a walk, take a nap, take a rest day. When you drink that cup of coffee or tea or hot chocolate, savor it. Savor it. Actually taste it. Enjoy the way it feels in your mouth. Enjoy the way it smells. That's what I'm talking about. All right? So, I also encourage you, as I always do something to engage your mind and your body. Go get that bright early morning sun, bright light. It's been nice to see the sun for a couple of days. It's been very helpful. Drink plenty of water, and whatever else you do, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It is all around us. And so we're going to take a page out of Emma's book. and look for the good and praise it. Because the more we look, the more we see, the more we see, the more there is. That's how good multiplies. All right. It's always around us. It is a conscious shift to see it. Even in the messiest situations, good is there. Sometimes because, actually, I would say always, because we are there and we bring the good in with us. All right. So, have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a sunny day, a productive day, a restful day, an enchanting day, a magical day, whatever kind of day you need to have, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased, always and forever. All right? It's a state of grace. So, there are book studies. The power of decision is coming up. I think that's going to take I think that's going to be on a Thursday. I'm not sure. So email info@creativelife.org. And then that way you'll know when that class starts, when the book studies are. Because the cool thing about the book studies is you can drop in and out of those. You can absolutely drop in and out of those. So, yeah, get on that list, see what's going on. We are on the social medias when you need us. We've got playlists. So we are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, depending on the social media. And I am the Running Rev Ryan on several of the social media, so you can look my stuff up too. And then I will see you next time, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. But whatever else, know that you're loved. All right, beloveds? Know that you are loved. So I will see you next time.